Broom the Fairy, I guess he's the easiest one to talk about. He's just a smaller character, one of the fairies who live in the world of the fairies. He doesn't do a whole lot, but he's one of Lyrindel's attendants or servants who kind of helps the Fairy King out with various matters around the Fairy Kingdom. Prince Geoffrey. Well, he is the handsome prince of the story, although he's not really your typical handsome prince. He's not really into swordplay and fighting, although his father, King Freddie, really wants him to be somewhat of the traditional prince. But he kind of just more like to spend his times reading books about exotic plants and hanging out in the forest. He's a bit of a horticulturalist and an intellectual. But he does find eventually his princely roots, and I don't want to give anything away, but I think he comes into his own as a prince.
So growing up, were you someone who wanted to read, or were you a big sports person?
Oh, geez. A little bit of both. I read a lot growing up. I was into all sorts of fantasy novels, Lord of the Rings, which is what makes doing a character like this in a fantasy world really fun for me, because I was always into, you know, magic and swordplay and kind of stuff like that, and I played sports here and there. I really liked baseball when I was younger. Like I was saying, like I've always been a fan of fantasy. Fantasy worlds, magic, folklore. So I would say I wasn't much of a fan of the more traditional fairy tales. I was more one of those guys who got really interested by the gross, disturbing ones, like Grimm's tales and all those ones that were really kind of scary. And I was huge into supernatural stories and ghost stories and stuff like that. I think the theme is all about true love, conquering all. Of course, there's all sorts of other themes. You know, the show is very fun. There's a lot of humor and action, but it all boils down to whatever evil there is in the world, as long as you have love in your heart, that's all that matters, and it conquers all of that evil. Cold and fun. I think they'll just have a great time. I hope they'll have a great time. I think it's a great show to just come out of the cold from in the holiday season. You're going to get action, romance, magic, fairies, humor, and I think a happy ending. So I think that's what audiences can expect, and I hope they'll get all that out of it.